The Enemies is a poem by the English poet Elizabeth Jennings, published in 1987 in the book Collective Poems. There are 20 verses divided into 3 stanzas with 2 sestets or 6-line stanzas, with the final stanza having 8 lines or octave. The poem is introspective and contemplative in tone while serving as a sort of cautionary tale. The poem has an unnamed omniscient speaker. The poem is set in a city surrounded by a river that can be anywhere in the world at any time. Don't forget to subscribe. The first stanza begins with the speaker describing an unidentified group of men who crossed a river to arrive in a city, suggesting an invasion or a sudden, unannounced arrival. The women's welcoming response of staying awake, offering food, and providing entertainment contrasts with the implicit threat posed by the strange men. The lack of inquiry, not asking what the men had come to take or why they spoke a strange tongue, further reinforces passivity or perhaps fear. The vagueness of they and the band creates a sense of unease, signifying that the invasion without resistance and oppression is normalized. The verse "what the men had come to take" implies forced hospitality, fear-induced compliance, or a learned behavior of submission in response to recurring invasions. The phrases "not asking" and "why they came so suddenly" suggest a world where invasions are routine, and silence is a conditioned response. The second stanza reflects on the aftermath of an unexplained intrusion and the hidden effects of invasion. The following morning, the city was buzzing with stories about the swift and dark invasion. The women report that none of the strangers provided a reason for their presence. The word invasion carries connotations of violence and destruction, yet here, it leaves no visible damage. The contrast between intrusion and apparent peace suggests that not all invasions leave behind physical destruction, leaving psychological or cultural scars instead. The phrase "peace is apparent" implies that while things may look undisturbed, the town's security has likely been shaken. It raises questions about power, silent control, and how history remembers events. The final stanza explores the lingering psychological effects of the invasion described earlier in the poem. It shifts from the physical presence of the invaders to the internal, emotional, and social consequences they leave behind. The second stanza emphasizes that the town looked peaceful, but here we see that peace is deceptive. The citizens' unease is visible through their cautious conversations, withdrawn expressions, and hesitant physical contact. The phrase "the city is a haunted place" is metaphorical. There are no literal ghosts, but an atmosphere of fear, distrust, and paranoia lingers. The invasion did not destroy buildings or fields, but it disrupted relationships and trust. The phrases "better hide myself" and "better draw the blinds" symbolize withdrawal, emotional isolation, and the fear of being watched or betrayed. The blinds represent literal and metaphorical barriers that people now put up against each other. In The Enemies, Elizabeth Jennings shows how fear of change and unfamiliar people can unsettle an entire community. The poem starts with a mysterious group of strangers arriving in a nameless city. At first, they are warmly welcomed. The town's women offer them food and hospitality without asking who they are, why they've come, or what they want. But this open welcome is short-lived. By the next morning, the townspeople grow uneasy, not just about the strangers but about each other. Even though there's no visible threat, as the strangers haven't caused harm or destruction, but suspicion spreads. Friends who once trusted each other now seem distant. Handshakes are cold, conversations are cautious, and the city feels haunted, not by ghosts, but by fear and uncertainty. The mere presence of outsiders makes the citizens defensive. They draw a clear line between us and them, treating the strangers with distrust simply because they are new. Worse, they begin to fear that these newcomers have somehow taken over their thoughts, changing the way they see the world and each other. In the end, both strangers and old friends become enemies, changed not by violence, but by fear. On one level, the poem explores how difficult it is to truly accept outsiders, people who seem different from ourselves. But it also works as a metaphor for how unsettling any kind of change can be. Jennings highlights the lasting psychological impact of fear and conflict. The silence in the town isn't peaceful but oppressive, filled with unspoken tension. The drawn blinds in the poem symbolize emotional walls, showing how fear isolates people. The town feels closed off, trapped in its own anxieties, as if it cannot move forward because of past wounds. The poem is open to interpretation and can be read through multiple lenses. It can be about colonial invasion, gendered violence, feminist reading, or xenophobia. Hope you share and subscribe for more poem analysis.